Now let's talk about graphs, such as pie charts, bar charts, and line charts. Graphs are something that can be added relatively easily to your template, but you need the data to support the actual chart in order to be able to really use it. Here what we have is a pre-made template, and in the record you can see that there are 5 entries containing numerical values for very important to insignificant. Now this could represent tasks to be done, or tickets that need to be opened, or anything else really, as long as you have numerical values that you can put in the chart. So let's start by adding a pie chart. When you add the pie chart, the first thing it will ask you is what kind of values you want inside the chart. What will create the chart? There are 2 ways that you can do this. You can use static or dynamic labels. Static labels means that the values are directly inside of your record. So the very important to insignificant here, those are static labels. They will not have a variable number of labels, just always the same number. Let me add the appropriate values and then we'll continue on. By default, a pie chart kind of looks like this. And it looks better when it's a bit larger. Now, pie charts are very customizable. What you can do to change their properties is to simply right-click on them and click on pie chart, bar chart, or line chart, depending on the one you added. Now, there's a lot of different options here, including how to change the actual pie chart itself. So for example, I could add a whole radius, so hole inside of the pie to make it a donut chart. You can apply a 3D effect to it to kind of rotate it just a little bit in order to give it some depth. You can also decide where and how you want to put the labels. So you can create custom label text, and you can also decide where you want them to be placed. So here, basically, if you put a positive value, it's outside of the pie chart. If you put a negative value, it's inside of the pie chart. And then you have legends, where you can have a list of the values on the right. And normally, if you have legends, you would disable the actual label text inside of the chart itself. So let me go back and do that. And click OK. Here's another version of the chart that's not 3D, but that has custom colors. Custom colors can be added directly into the Slice Color in the General tab. And like I said, there's also a dynamic way to add labels if you have a variable number of labels inside of your data model. So if I add a new pie chart and I use dynamic labels, then you need to determine exactly which of the fields inside of a specific detail table will define the values and labels. Now, here in my data model, I do have a variable number of labels and values, and I have one field for each of those. So that should work fine if I click on OK, and I go in preview mode. Of course, the result is the same because I'm using the same source data. I just changed the way that it's extracted. But you can see how significantly powerful this is, and you can test it on your own.